So Bushy Park has reintroduced 3 species of birds, the tautawai or North Island robin, the Tīeke, saddleback, and hihi, a stitch bird. I think Tīeke survive, and not just survive but thrive at Bushy Park because there's plenty of habitat, plenty of food, but also they're protected from predators. They were reintroduced into the park in 2006, but have done so well that we've been able to translocate 40 birds out of Bushy Park to Rotokare Scenic Reserve. When you reintroduce a species, then you're looking at a species that is likely to have been here originally, but it's also about what support or monitoring or care that species might need on site. So we have to be able to support that process.
Reintroduction of a species is quite a complex procedure. We had to be satisfied, and DOC had to be satisfied, that this was a suitable site. We put up an aviary that the birds would be held in when they got here. So we did that in the centre of the bush. We had to organise the permits. We had to organise transport and a great team of volunteers, including a cook. And off we went to Makuya Island in the middle of winter for a great adventure. The excitement and the satisfaction of bringing an endangered species, a rare species that most people would never have seen, back into the mainland, that's something special. And so we're able to do that for thousands of school children, for the general public, and the satisfaction of knowing, hey, we've pulled this species back from the brink.
Tīeke, like many other New Zealand species, has gone through a really huge loss in population numbers. So Tīeke used to be all over the North Island and the South Island. There is 2 subspecies, one in the north, one in the south, and they were common birds everywhere. And then we came, and with us came our predators, and their numbers started to go down. We also fragmented the forest where they live, and they lost all their home, so their numbers went even lower down. And in the case of the North Island Tīeke, which is the Tīeke that we have here at Bushy Park, there was a single population left on an island called Hen Island, which is in the northern part of New Zealand. And from those 600 birds that were left, all of the populations that we have today have derived. And initially, what people did is they took a few birds from Hen Island and transferred them to other populations where they grew in numbers, and they realized that actually this was a really good way to increase the populations of these birds. So now, after many years, we have 20 different populations. 15 of those are on islands, and then a few of them, 5 of them, are on sanctuaries like Bushy Park. And the numbers, for example, are growing. At the moment it's winter time, but they're still breeding. So these birds can do really well when given the opportunity and when there is no predators. The first thing that I kind of discovered with Tīeke that fascinated me is that Tīeke use a huge range of different techniques to get their kai, to get their food. So Tīeke is not like other birds that only uses one technique. You can see them hawking, means that they fly up in the air and catch insects in the wing. They can also glean insects from the leaves and the bark of the trees. They can lick insects from the ground. They can lick flower nectar. They can eat fruits. They can pluck them from the trees. They can use their legs and their bill to open, for example, leaves that have nests of invertebrates in them, or they can peck at holes to make them bigger so that they can extract foods from inside the openings that are made into the bark, etc. So it is a fascinating bird because no other bird in the world does that. They are what I call very romantic birds. So the male and the female can establish really strong bonds, and those bonds are maintained all year round. Most birds are only romantic in the breeding season when the male wants to copulate with the female, but in the case of Tīeke, all year round the male brings little presents to the female and does lots of little behaviors that the female finds alluring and makes her stay with him. Sanctuaries such as Bushy Park are important for research and researchers because at the moment this is the only places where we can find our endemic and native species living in a natural environment. It is important overall for all our species in New Zealand, that we have our birds in many different places, so that if something bad happens in one place, all the other places will be able to sustain populations and be able to recolonize or produce more birds that can go to places where they might have lost for whatever other reasons. And of course, I think it's really important to have Tīeke here because people from this entire area of the Manawatu, Wanganui, and even from other areas close by can come and can experience Tīeke, a really wonderful bird in a really wonderful native environment in New Zealand.